and see how content they are and certain they are.
You see, you know you.
To give you a very harsh example, someone being the doctor, and the doctor says, you know what, you might have cancer or not. Let me just check. And it's leave them there hanging. Do you think they'll have contentment in their heart, saying, no, I'm
there
okay?
There are plenty of examples where people are never going to be content with uncertainty. I also think there's going to be examples where things are uncertain.
When it comes to certainty, what you're doing is you're simply saying, I'm no longer going to be depressed because I know this is the reality. Like, for example, you're not the King of England, are you? Once you realize you're not the King of England, there's no point depressing yourself like, oh, I'm not the King of England anymore, because you know that the fact that you are not the King of England.
Yeah, but
there's no point.
Up until this point, I had never wondered whether I was the King of England. So is the knowledge that I'm not adding anything to my life?
But when it comes to somebody says, are you
Is it?
if somebody says you could be the King of England, and wow, maybe imagine being the King of England means all this inheritance, maybe, I don't know, money, fame, whatever, all these things, and you start thinking you wouldn't have in your heart the tranquility, because it's possible. If you are possibly, there's a chance that you're the King of England, you're losing all of that. You'll be thinking, because human nature is such that you would want to find out the truth and say, okay, fine, you know what, there's so many things that wait for me. You're not going to simply say, oh, I don't care.
But I feel like that's not a universal truth. I agree in many cases.
I didn't say it's an universal truth. I am saying,
but that uncertainty is something that
what
once
the Quran,
it's introduced into your life,
I'm saying what the Quran says about contentment, about heart. It says, in the remembrance of God, the heart finds real contentment. Those who do not think about God and remembering God, there's always going to be the element of not so content, because they're not certain. Oh, when I die, is it really heaven or hell? What if there is a hell? I'm going to be burned in hell. Even the staunchest atheists, at any point of their life, if they're really sitting down and thinking, it's not going to give them peace in their heart. They'll be thinking, what if they're right?
I mean,
what if there's a hellfire? What if there's a punishment?
Okay, this is something that is just subjective, I feel like they're never going to reach the same level of contentment. Who's to say? You don't know if someone, like you're saying, it's universal nature to want to solve uncertainty.
Excuse me, audience, to mic up in the microphone.
But in my mind, there are people that are uncertain about where they go after death, if there's anything after death. There's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things they can't plan.
What about you? Are you certain of anything? This is what we're trying to know. Are you certain of your own existence?
In a very abstract sense, I'm not sure of many things.
Are you certain of your own existence?
Yeah, in a biological sense.
You're certain?
Yeah.
Are you certain that you're going to die?
Yeah.
Sure. What happens after death? Do you know?
No.
Right. And you're happy with it?
To me, that has
doesn't bother you?
No.
What if there is hell? And what if there is heaven? And what if we haven't done?
I feel like worrying about that while I'm alive outweighs the possibility that worrying about it and changing my ways of life.
What if the reality is there is hellfire and you haven't fulfilled the purpose?
Then I feel like
would you be at loss?
Like, as much as I can try to be the best person in the way I think is best, whichever religion.
The way you think. But that could be the wrong approach. Because if the Creator wants us to behave in a certain way, which was not in line with what you thought, then you wouldn't be in those. I'm going to come in soon, inshallah. So it's not going to be the same, like, okay, the Creator will be happy with what you've done, because He may have some reasons and some.
But what if it turns out? What if you do concern yourself with that, and there's these rules and you follow them, and you die and you find out the rules were completely different, and you spent all your life adhering to these rules.
Like how you'd find different, because if the Creator's given you and you're certain that this is from the Creator, how would they be different?
But you're certain. I think while you're alive, that's a great feeling to have. That can be redemptive. But who's to say that if you die, there's not going to be some entity or some something that's going to say, you spend too little time just doing what you want.
No, that's why
that was the purpose.
No, that is why when we examine the faith that we are going to subscribe to, it needs to make sense in terms of, okay, what am I doing here? What's going to happen to me afterwards when I die? And that makes sense or not. If that makes sense to you and the reasons are given, evidence is given, you don't expect God, the Creator, who is the source of all truth, to come away from this truth and say, no, I'm not going to give you that, or I'm going to do something differently. You'd not expect that God would behave differently when He's already told you, this is me, this is how I expect you to do, and I'm not going to break my promises, because someone who's perfect is not going to behave imperfectly. So if someone has given this Quran, this revelation, this message from him, and is giving you the evidence that it is from him, you don't expect to be different when you die, because he's not going to be inconsistent in his message to you.
But the assumption there is that while you're alive, you already know that this is the truth.
This is what the purpose of our mind is, to find and verify and to accept it as true or not, or
To me,
reject
that will
it.
always be fungible. Like it will never be absolute. You can never say
No,
this.
there's a level of certainty that you can reach at, and that will give you the comfort in your heart, because some evidence are such a profound that you don't have room for skepticism. Some evidence are such that you don't need,
Maybe.
that's
To me,
how,
I will
that's the
always
level
have
of
skepticism.
there will be levels of skepticism in something, but within certain things, the evidence will provide it such that that skepticism or doubt will be removed, and those who are only still showing doubtful will be seen as not being fair. For example, if now I show you that this person is the one who murdered, really, I mean, every kind of evidence that you can think of there, you can't say that murder didn't take place by this murderer, or maybe it's just that aliens came and did it. It would be unfair to make those assumptions when all the evidence is there. The judge, when they do the judgment in a court of law, they can do this, all the evidence
But the
that they
only
have.
thing you can be certain about in that situation is that the person is dead.
Yeah.
For everything
Yeah.
else, you can
But
be
what if all the circumstantial evidence points to the criminal who's done it?
It's
Why
still
would
not
you?
certain.
No. What if the circumstance, all of it, eyewitnesses, the cameras, you yourself saw it with your own eyes? Are you not going to say, no, I was blinded, I was having an illusion or something? In fact, it was the aliens. You would even distract yourself and your experience of your own eyes, observation, which is a primary eyewitnessing. If this happens to this level of doubt, I would say that skepticism is not healthy and it's not really fair. Yeah, because all the circumstantial evidence points to this reality. When the Quran you examine and it gives you this kind of level of certainty, you don't need to say, oh, you know what, the Quran came from some aliens. There's no point to even, bring this as a theory. Do you see? Sometimes we have to make those decisions, and we do that every day. So our heart and our mind can be content when we see this level of evidence at hand, in front of us.
Yeah, but
Okay. Because we have to go and I have to pray my
I still have to eat, so
yeah.
it's a good time to
It's
wrap
good.
up, I
Good.
think.
We'll do this. COVID shakes. It's a pleasure speaking to you, Bram.
It was.
Please investigate the Quran, look into the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and look for yourself whether this is something that is true. Because if it's
I knew less about it than I thought, so I will look into it.
Yeah. Because if it's not true, it will manifest. It will be obvious. Something that is not true, it will show.
Let's see if it can change
So
the way I.
So if you want to come back again, speak to us, by all means you can. If you want to speak to other Muslims elsewhere in the internet, whatever, start now conversing with the Muslims, ask questions, and then hopefully,
this is very interesting to me.
Yeah. You take care.
What are you guys filming this for? Like, is this going anywhere?
So
or?
this will be in various channels. By the way, so mine and Hashim's channels are called Dawah-wise. So those of you who haven't subscribed to Dawah-wise, please subscribe to Dawah-wise. Yep. There are other channels that people are recording. Do you want to name your channels so he can listen to? Okay. What are your channels? Sam Dawah. Dawah to Soul. sfdawah. Which one's this? Dawah-wise. Any others? Yeah. So what we're trying to do is to bring those discussions to broader public, so that people can also, benefit from this conversation that we're all learning from each other. I'm learning from you, you're learning from me, and perhaps other people can learn from us too.
Yeah.
That's the main intent. In fact, this is the main intent of Dawah-wise. So we empower people with information so they can really learn all these things, make their life better.
Yeah, I think that's a great approach.
Good.
Not forcing anything on anyone, just making people think about it.
Excellent.
Which you've done for me. I never considered it before now, and I'd be interested to read a bit more about it.
Just
Great.
out of interest, where is he from? Where are you from?
Rotterdam.
Rotterdam. Yeah. Do you have any copies of the Quran, anyone? Please,
There's a copy.
as a free gift. An English language.
English.
Yep. Your English has been very good, so don't.
Yeah, I don't think that will be the.
Yeah, but of course, in the internet, you can have translations of the Quran in various languages. Yeah, and so on. So take care and all the best. And it's a pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye. Mansur. Yeah.